Heather, a question we get from people often is, why are human resources important? In fact, when we're doing onboarding of a client, they'll kind of say, we don't need that. We have an employee handbook. And often, what do you run into when they say that?
The employee handbook is not necessarily your human resources. It's a guide. It's a fantastic guide. However, when we're left to our own devices, when it comes to that, we're going to throw in a lot of things that you could get legally in trouble for. So,
well, and we often see somebody has just Googled one,
yeah,
and just taken it and printed it, and then it's not even tailored or correct to and apply to their own business. And they think that's their human resources department, but clearly it's not even hardly a piece of it.
The truth of the matter is we've got people in the business that are doing bits and pieces of human resources. Let's face it, the hiring,
right,
all the paperwork that goes along with that, that's human resources. But if we have the boss doing that, there's likely something that's going to get missed. The termination, the exit interviews. Exit interviews are so important because if you have a neutral person like a human resources person do that exit interview, you're going to learn so much about your company, maybe your own shortcomings, what went wrong. So we can more clearly define maybe the role of the supervisor, the role of that employee. And that's another thing that comes down to our job description. So everybody knows what is expected of them instead of, well, the supervisor that says, well, he wasn't doing this, and the employee that says, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. So
it's interesting how really off the human resources side, you help a lot with developing not only an employee handbook, which is kind of foundational to some degree, because there are things that need to be in there, but job descriptions. When people want to terminate even somebody, you get a lot of calls on that.
I get a lot of, it's interesting how many clients are unsure of how to do an interview. They've never done it. They hire their cousin that is able to work and might know a little bit about the industry. So they are completely unaware of how to conduct an interview.
Right.
What can I ask? What can't I ask? Even how to post job openings.
Right.
So this is going to be the job of your human resource professional.
And something to consider is a lot of small companies cannot afford a full-time human resource person. So they probably still need to dedicate somebody in the organization to that. We, of course, at GBC have an HR or human resources portal where they can gain a lot of information, even down to state specific. But it's very important, and that's where it isn't usually very long. They are calling you and working with you on the human resources side to try to figure out what is the best path forward, and then, when is the time if we grow to add that position, but to handle it in a very different form. I know sometimes you even get involved in interviewing potential employees and things.
I do. I have. A lot of times in our smaller businesses that don't have enough resources to have a full-time dedicated HR person, it is not uncommon for your HR person to also be maybe your secretary or personal assistant. Right. That's very common. So I tell our clients, don't be scared about that.
Right.
You'll grow, and this person will transition as you grow.
But basically, you help set up systems and processes so when things come up, they know how to handle it. So human resources is very important. It's something that is part of the 20% of the foundational piece that people need to build when we talk about that, and would encourage anybody to take a good look at it.